Have you ever impulsively bought a sunken pontoon boat off Facebook Marketplace to turn into your dream home? Well, we did, and we've got it all torn down, ready to build our house. But before we dive into that, let us take you back a couple weeks to picking this sucker up.
This is one of my good friends, James. He and I go way back, 16 years or first grade to be exact.
We've got James on our sled. Our rope is going over here to the tractor. With me, your Captain Jake.
Growing up, James and I loved building stuff, like homemade backyard ski parks and even chainsaw-powered bicycles. But one thing we've always come back to is the ocean. Around here, boating is a big deal, but it's limited to the warm summer months. So we had an idea. What if we built a boat that could also be a house? Something comfortable for land or water anytime we wanted to use it. Sounds awesome, but here's the thing. Neither of us has ever built a house or a boat. So if we get the math wrong, this whole project could end up at the bottom of the ocean. And the boat we're going to look at has already sunk to the bottom once before.
Yeah, this seems safe enough. Nothing to really, I got the sketchy handles. That's my secure. Let's go buy a boat.
Hopefully we don't get in an accident.
Someone help. Just don't yam on the brakes too much.
I'll try not to.
It's like I'm already sliding. I'm already sliding.
Before we get out onto the road, let me just buckle up real quick.
It's not cool, dude.
Should I just ratchet strap you down?
Honestly, I might want it.
Here we go. Out on the open road.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
At least I have a fan.
We were told the trailer tires had seen better days, so we grabbed some new ones just to be safe.
Hey, how's it going?
Little helper boy.
Pretty chaotic back here, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't do it.
Who's been living out of this thing?
I was thinking maybe you put him back here on top of me to weigh me down.
So, I don't know, 3 hours later, coming down this dirt road here. Gonna arrive at the owner's house in 1 minute and see what we got.
Let's check it out.
Wow. Beautiful place here. And there's the boat. Well, this is the boat. We're about to start her up here and see how the engine runs.
Brand new Mercury on this, John.
Brand new Merc on the back after she went down in the Connecticut River.
We'll start it up.
We'll wait for Steve to get back over here.
You got to be able to say hot tour, right?
That's the...
This is Steve, the current owner of the boat.
Well, this is what happens when you've got 3 daughters and you need a place to go.
little bit of a man cave.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
This is epic. How many of these pellets were?
These are all donated by people,
Okay.
and everything's got a story. The mountain lion killed a buddy's cattle in Aspen, Colorado, and his father shot it. He had that in his house, and his wife said, "Get the hell out of here." This is the best collection of stuffed animal asses you will find anywhere east of Mississippi.
That's crazy.
So the idea was, when we all had kids and we didn't want to drive into town to go have beers to watch Monday Night Football, everybody who lives within 5 miles just said, we'll go to the pub and watch the games here while our kids are asleep.
Yeah, you got a whole bar
And
right
so
here.
I'd be putting my kids to bed and I'd come out and there'd be 10 cars in the driveway and all the guys are out here. We got the keg system out of a fraternity at Dartmouth. They ripped it out and I managed to grab one before it got trashed. So before you leave, I'm going to take your picture and you're going to find a place on the ceiling.
All right.
As the new owners of the boat, I've got to memorialize you here.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Steve's stories were fascinating, but we had a boat to see. It was time to get back to work and see if the engine that's been sitting for 7 years will start up and run. Phew. For a second there, I thought we were in trouble. Now that we know she runs, it's time to get everything ready for the trip home. Starting with swapping out these cracked old tires. Let's just hope the new ones fit.
Wonders never cease. We got the right size. All right, beautiful.
Good?
Yeah.
Think so.
Down?
Yeah. Nice.
It's on its own weight.
New rubber on both sides.
Good wheels and tires are a must for a safe trip, and so is keeping the wheel bearings greased. But these old rusty ones aren't making it easy. Without enough grease, these bearings could overheat and fail, which would be a disaster for our trip.
Well, that's a good sign though, right? Tells you that it was probably taking the grease.
Yeah, it sounded like it was.
So what year did this thing sink?
That's a good question. I think she hit the bottom of the Connecticut River in about 2006, 2007. And we tried everything. I went and bought 20 tuck tire inner tubes. You put the inner tubes underneath, we inflated them, hoping to get, the thing moved up. And finally my buddy, who's in the construction business, said, screw it. And he went and got his lull and lifted it out. I hired a guy to come and repair the aluminum holes, and he found 17 areas that needed to be re-welded or had a little bit of a weak spot.
Mm-hmm.
You can see where all that happened, some of these joints. And they've held up really well.
Yeah, that's some nice welds. Dude, this thing looks so funny. It's bigger than a school bus.
You're just gonna have to take it real slow. This trailer is almost double our age.
Lock this down.
Nice.
The ground is like separate from this. Normally it would go, you see there's 4, there's only 3, and then the separate ground.
While we worked on fixing the trailer light wiring, Steve passed down some advice from his 103-year-old grandfather.
Most people don't learn that until they're 70.
Yeah.
So good for you for getting that.
That, and also just learning not to care as much. People care too much.
Yeah, they do. Care about what other people think also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Best advice I ever got from my 103-year-old grandfather was, you're a fool if you listen to the advice of a fool. And we oftentimes, we don't know people are fools, but you hear people give their opinions and it means something, and it should. You guys have enough life experiences to be able to judge yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Despite our best wiring efforts, the trailer lights still did not work. So, with a plan to find replacement lights on the way home, we paid Steve 4,000 smackaroos, signed over the paperwork, visited the Holy Pub one more time, and hit the road while there was still some daylight left.
All right, well, we've officially got a pontoon boat in tow behind the scrapyard truck right now.
It's a dream come true.
It's a dream come true.
The guy was the man. Hats by Taz.
Steve hooked us up with some hats by Taz. If you haven't seen these suckers before, go check them out. Hats by Taz. All right, we're out on 89, out on the highway. Cooking, going 45 miles an hour. It's probably, that's probably all I really felt comfortable doing with this 41-year-old trailer behind us. I just want to make it back in one piece, man.
All right, focus on the road.
All right, we're about an hour into the drive. Pulled over at the gas station here to grab a little Subway dinner. So far, so good, but we still got a long ways to go.
After our first meal on the boat and carefully maneuvering this sucker over to the pump to fuel up, we got back on the road with 75 miles to go.
Oh my gosh. We made it
Back to the homestead. Scrapyard truck did an amazing job, and we'll see you when it's time to build. Before diving into the build, we brought the boat down to the water, where we were stoked to find out she floats.
Oh my God.
With confirmation that the boat floats and the engine works as it should, we took the trailer from the first boat, and that's right, you guessed it, we went to pick up another pontoon boat. We're gonna steal the pontoons from this second, smaller boat to increase the buoyancy of the first boat, since we'll be adding so much weight. The second donor boat was far from pretty, but actually put up quite a fight when it came to dismantling it. During the teardown, I found an ancient fire extinguisher.
Oh.
After peeling up the carpet, tearing up the old rotten deck, removing the seating and the helm, and all the other junk on board, we were left with some aluminum cross members, 2 extra pontoons, and an old outboard engine that we sold on Marketplace to recover a couple $100. And then James heard something moving around in the left pontoon. It was at this point that I reluctantly pulled the plastic drain plug and realized we had a major problem. With water somehow making its way into the pontoon, we had to figure out how this was happening. So I picked up a one-way valve, just like the one you would find on a car or bike tire, carefully drilled a hole in this plastic plug on top of the pontoon, and threaded the one-way valve right into the plastic plug. This would allow us to hook up an air hose and begin filling the pontoon with air. James then took some soapy water and started spraying down all of the cracks and crevices in hopes of finding the source of the leak.
It was.
Oh! Nice.
We continued searching for any more leaks and brought the boat to the very street I grew up on, to our good buddy Griffin's house. Griffin has been a professional welder for years, and we were super grateful when he offered his help. We pulled off the damaged bracket, cleaned up the area with a wire wheel, and Griffin got to work laying down some absolute dimes. Seriously, our old clunker of a boat does not deserve welds this beautiful. Nevertheless, Griffin hooked up some air to our pressure testing valve, we sprayed her down and found a couple other leaks, but Griffin got her all fixed up and ready to hit the water, if we ever make it there. With that taken care of, allow me to introduce the new trailer, which is a lot beefier with 2 axles and electric brakes. The only problem with this trailer, which is also quite old, is that the tires are cracking and no longer safe to be used. So we jacked her up and set her down on some jack stands, removing all 4 wheels and tires, and bringing them down to our good friends at Collins Auto Repair, who were kind enough to teach us how to remove the old tires and install the new ones on their tire machine. We loaded up our wheels with fresh rubber and slapped those puppies back on the trailer. One step closer to actually beginning the build, we started tearing down the main boat itself. We're not really sure if we'll use any of this furniture, but we're setting it aside in case we find a use for it. With controls still running to the engine, we removed the cover and figured out how to disconnect them so that we could save them for later. The helm and its glorious pirate ship steering wheel could then be removed, and finally, the old teal carpet. Removing these plywood deck boards looks like it's going to be quite a process compared to the other boat because they used carriage bolts to secure this deck. And because these deck boards have begun to rot and the carriage bolts are rusted, when we go to remove the nut on the underside, the carriage bolt just spins. Drilling from the top side of the carriage bolt and drilling around the carriage bolt didn't prove to be successful, so we had to resort to a bit sketchier solution. This kid's sketchy, but grinding the top of the carriage bolt off and removing the rest of the bolt from underneath did prove to be successful. And after removing about 100 of these bolts, we could finally remove the old rotten deck boards. What did I tell you? Kid sketch. With the first boat completely stripped down, the last little bit of teardown that we have to do is removing the donor pontoons, which actually weren't quite as heavy as I thought they would be.
I don't know what to say. Maybe like, yeah.
Maybe it's like a start, like, and now we're here.
Yeah. And now we're here.
Took 4 hands, but we ripped our deck off. Now we got a blank slate to build on.
He's not wrong. We ripped our deck off, and now we've got a blank slate to build on. But first, without a deck in the way, we're gonna tuck these additional pontoons right under the boat, using ratchet straps to hoist them up into place. All of the donor pontoons mounting brackets line up with the cross members on our boat, except for one up front. So we're gonna use a piece of scrap metal from the donor boat to bridge the gap and make sure everything's connected. After marking a bunch of holes, we carefully lower the pontoon out of the way, drill the holes in the cross members, lift the pontoon back up into place, and secure it using the hardware we saved from the donor boat. We repeated the same process with the second donor pontoon, resulting in a monstrosity that one might call a quad toon. Before dismantling our deck, we had a brainstorming session where we came up with a rough floor plan for the interior of the boat. I could then recreate the boat in SketchUp to come up with a game plan before our first trip to the store for materials.
Dude, this is so heavy. Oh my god. We're definitely gonna go over our weight capacity on the boat.
Quick math, quick minute. Pounds for 240.
That's the 3/4 inch. And then,
160 for those.
right, 160. And then these probably weigh like
20 pounds.
20 pounds a piece, maybe.
480. 500
480 pounds.
We have no idea what we're doing.
Like stopping a freight train.
What?
It's like stopping a freight train. Look at this guy. He hates being on camera.
Not cool, dude.
Hates being on camera in public.
Yeah, cringe ass.
Womp womp. Hey, how you doing?
Get in.
Hey, how you doing?
Get in.
We're special kind of stupid. Spending thousands of dollars at a time
We have no idea what we're doing.
on a project that we don't even know how to do.
You're the engineer.
I didn't go to engineering school.
Yeah, business degree doesn't help you that much right now.
Business degree doesn't help much with building a boat or a house.
Yeah, 2 things.
Yep. Alright, hopefully this stuff doesn't fly out of the back.
Anyways, back at the house, we applied construction adhesive to each 3/4 inch sheet of plywood, added a 1/4 inch layer of PVC on top, and clamped it down as tight as we could. After allowing these to cure for a couple days, we used a flush trim router bit to remove the excess PVC around the edges. Once all of these were trimmed up, we could lay them down on the boat with the PVC side down. Then, using a chalk line, we gave ourselves a visual of where the crossmember was under the subfloor, established our spacing, and used a countersink bit before sending self-tapping screws through the subfloor to secure it to the boat. Wherever 2 pieces were being joined together, we applied waterproof marine adhesive to keep out as much water as possible. Then went down some more construction adhesive before adding another layer of plywood, which we laid the opposite direction that the first sheets went down. The added thickness and cross-laid pattern should result in a super solid subfloor. After a whole lot of planning, teardown, and prep work, we're excited to dive headfirst into building this crazy little floating home, and we hope you are too. Stay tuned to see us frame out the entire houseboat in the next episode. Keep making the most of it, and we'll see you soon. Love you. Bye.